completely armchair copy then at that point. And it's really great. Everybody coming out of Florida. Art down there is just booming up here. He said he's in Destin. And it's funny, he came to Florida, and I left Florida 17 years ago and came to Lexington. So we did an about face on each one of us there, and one went one way and the other one went the other. I've got a lot of friends I went to school with. I went to school in my last couple of years of high school, and a bunch of them had moved to Florida. And why in the world did you ever leave down here? Well, most of them were girls, and they never worked outside. So they don't quite know the brutal conditions of having to work outside in that heat every day. And when I worked in Tampa, I worked at GTE down there. And about everything I did, I was a telephone cable splicer, and everything was buried in the dirt, or down in the sand. There was no dirt per se. And every day meant digging. So we had to dig. And I really didn't like digging that much. The sand would cave in, and we had to put plywood up to keep if we had to go very deep, we'd have to sit there and put plywood up and put some big steel posts in the ground to hold the plywood back to keep them getting caved in on. And then in a lot of places you ran into the groundwater was up so high. To me, it wasn't a very good place to work. Now, it wasn't bad working in Lakeland and Zephyr Hills area and stuff like that. And but the Tampa area and closer you got to the bay and stuff like that, the worse it got. Absolutely despised it there. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Gary. And good morning to everyone there in the group. And WD4NKA, WC4D. Because of my professional licensure, pretty much keeps me in Florida. If I have to go to another state, I have to sit for a board and do it all over again, and I really don't want to do that. I'd rather just reciprocate the medical licenses. At least they haven't for many years, and so I wound up staying in Florida. I grew up where leaves change, and the temperature is a little bit, it's not constantly subtropical, dampness all the time. That's it. But now I'm old, and now I discovered that I don't do cold the way I used to, and so now I'm probably still going to have to stay down here for health reasons. So anyway, that's me. TMI there, I guess. But, it's an okay state. I like it. But right around this time of year and right in the fall, I miss the leaves changing. And I miss changes of weather. I don't like constant heat. I don't like constant cold. I like it to change. I like seasons in their time. I think that's the whole point of seasons is to give you the physical change.
Yeah, even if we had any around here, I wouldn't, I wouldn't trust that either.
Good morning to you, Gary. WD4NKA in the group, KK4GZQ, and real good on all. Don talking about, you guys talking about living in Florida, and I've had some time in Florida myself. I lived down there, I guess it was 97, I think it was, somewhere right in there, 96, 97, and I didn't make it but about a year, and I got homesick. I came back home for and went to one of the Keeneland meets that we have here for horse racing, and saw everybody, and just, realized how bad that I miss home. So I came back, and plus my family was here, and home is wherever my family is. So, that's just me. I just couldn't get too far from them. Anyway, good morning again all the way around. Perry, you're sounding good. And I want to try Philip one more time, Art. I think he actually was coming back to me when you picked it up. So I do want to try Philip Mobile one more time. And Art, I'm getting ready to move the, if you remember, I had an old amp that I got from Liz there a couple years back. It was a BTI LK2000 with a single 1000Z in it, and for a file, and I'm going to pull it over here in place of where the 30S1 is and put it on the air here within the next couple of days. So anyway, let's try Philip. And interesting talking about digging down in Florida. I bet that was I can't say I've ever dug much down there, but Don talking about having to set plywood up for the digging, and what a pain it was to get into the ground, and then you get into near the bays and whatnot, but you get into all that ground level water, and I'm familiar with that as well. So anyway, let me try Philip in the mobile. If not, Art, let me send it back to you. KA4KOE mobile, KK4GZQ in the group. Okay, nothing heard, Art.
Yeah, Kevin, the last time through, this is N4JK, I did see a carrier pop up in for a second, and I couldn't hear it, but I thought you said that you were sounding. No carrier this time. Let's see, the lot of time on here, though, is an old IKP150 transmitter with a non-put TSB101 amp. I've got 4 8 levels. Talking out a massive 150 watts of carrier. And I've got a Flex 1500 hooked up as a receiver. Antenna was right on sloped dipole apex at about 45 feet in. And everyone will. Yeah, Gary, your signal is fine over here today. It is. We're a unusual distance for Southern time this time of day. Propagation is unpredictable. Well, I'm from Georgia originally, and I'm more comfortable with that area as a slightly cooler temperature than Kansas City. When I moved up to Kentucky, I started to have snow a lot, and that just wasn't my liking. But I sure did like those rolling hills and the creosote comfortable, limestone rocks, and there's so much beauty in Kentucky. When I was working up there, I found that so many people might have moved away, but they found their way back. Down here in northwest Florida, it's far enough north where we do have some change of scenery. So we've got some cooler temperatures. This isn't going to sound too tough when you got it, but it's 42 degrees right now. So we do feel some winter, but I've never seen snow here. So it is possible, but it's very, very rare. Let's see, and I I was only up in Kentucky for about 4 or 5 years. I've been here for about 20 now, so I think we're going to hang around. We'd like to go to Northwest Florida. And you're right, it's a long ways from where BJ is on the other side of the state. People don't really appreciate how large the state of Florida is, how spread out things are. I have a friend call up and say, well, we're going to go over to Disney World. We're flying into Orlando. You want to see us? Amounts to just about the day trip to go get over there. So, and the same BJ is. He's on the other side of the state. He's a good ways off. So we use radio to keep in touch. Anyway, that's happening going on. Something else I wanted to pass along. Yeah, good to hear back Gil finding that I hope he gets that all soon. Let's see. You there, Perry. Hope you had good holidays and got together with your, I think your dad and family and stuff. We got together with a lot of friends down here and ate way too much food and told stories. Some were true. You know how that goes. Up to you. W3MMR in the group from N4JK.
Yeah, I heard another breaker in there. It wasn't, they were down pretty low, though, for me. I believe it was a 4 station. That's about all I heard. Anyway, yeah, good morning, everyone. Yeah, Art, my son flew up from South Carolina, which was nice. He flew up for 5 days and spent some time with him and my father, and he spent some time with his grandmother, and it was good. His great-grandmother. It was good for him to come up and see family, and he had a blast. And of course, it was as fun for me as it was for him. I know that, and for my father as well. We had a really good time. It obviously didn't last as long as I wanted it to. You know, it seemed like it was over before I knew it. But what can you do? But yep, he'll be back up in the summertime, and we'll have to take full advantage of the time he's going to be here then, like we always do. And he'll be coming up for a few weeks in the summer, so he'll be here for a good amount, a lot longer, and I'll be able to take a full week off of work because I had to work a few days while he was here. He came in on a Thursday morning. I had to work. I picked him up from the airport, had to go back to work, and then I worked that Friday, but was off Saturday, Sunday. So I worked pretty much half the time that he was here, which kind of stunk, but that's duty calls, I guess. But can't wait till the summertime for him to get here. And Don, great signal this morning, Don. You're about 15 to 20 over. Art, you're the same as well. Here, Kevin, big signal as always, 20 over plus. I'm having a little bit of difficulty with Gary locally this morning, so I flipped on the web SDR and was able to copy him up in Massachusetts on the QIX web SDR with no issue there. So good morning to you, Gary, as well, and good morning to the breaking station. Yeah, I've lived pretty much, I heard you say, Gary, I know you've lived up here in the Philadelphia area for a little while. I was born here in Delaware County, right south of Philadelphia, right outside 5 miles or so outside of the city, and lived here for most of my childhood, and then moved over to New Jersey with my father for high school, over to Salem County, New Jersey. When we moved out to the country there, and then after high school, I went into the Navy and bounced around obviously a lot with the Navy, from Illinois to Northern Virginia to Norfolk, Virginia, and everywhere in between. And then after I got out, I moved to, I was spending a little bit of time up in New Jersey, then moved down to South Carolina to be with my son and to be closer to him. And then there wasn't really much work around the Charleston area, and I don't have any family down there. So I was struggling I was working, but to find a good paying job down there wasn't that easy. So I was struggling, and I don't have any family down there, and so it was kind of a decision, to move back up here for the best of for the greater good, to move back closer to family, to get a better paying job, so I can, be more, be a little bit better, not better of a better father, but to be more financially stable for my son's sake, and to be able to give him more things and spoil him, I guess you could say, a little more than I was able to when I was living, 8 miles away from him. So it stinks that I'm not able to see him, all the time, but I see him 4 or 5 times out of the year for a week or more at a time. So, and with technology, FaceTime, video chatting, so on and so forth, it makes it a lot easier to live farther away, because I call him every morning. Right after I get done making his transmission, I'm going to call him and wish him off to school. I do that every morning. He calls me when he gets off the bus every day, and we video chat, and then he'll call me when he's playing video games or doing his homework, this, that, and the third. And so we stay real close that way. And me and his mother have a really good relationship for his sake. So she keeps me in the loop with everything, lets me know everything that's going on when he's sick, how he's doing in school. There's apps for his school now, so I can watch his grades from afar. I can talk to his teachers online if I need to. So it makes it really easy, or as easy as it can be, to live far away. So that's the story here. But here we are back in Chester, Pennsylvania, 7 miles southwest of Philadelphia, and hopefully we're going to move back over into the country within the next year, so I can stop dealing with this hellacious noise level that I have to deal with up here at times. So we'll keep it moving along. Drag your feet, Don. We'll see if there's another braking station in there. I did hear one, but maybe you guys can pull them out. So down to you, Don. Where do I have your call written down? WC4D in the group from W3MMR.
Alpha 4, kilowatt.
Okay, I picked up an Alpha 4 kilowatt. Sorry, I don't remember the name, but I remember the call. And we'll say good morning to you. This is Don, Whiskey Charlie 4 Delta, and I'm in Lexington, Kentucky. And I want to tell you there, at points you were hitting almost 40 over here. Extremely loud this morning. You were keying up about 20 and modulating up to about 40 over. So good modulation, great signal, great audio. That thing is really working. Gary's doing the same thing. The Florida stations, I can barely hear Kevin, but we're probably less than 20 miles away from each other, air miles. So I can hear him still, but I can't. He's just way down in the noise. He's about S9 to me, or less, and I have about an S8 noise level here. So anyhow, that's working great. It's funny living in Destin. I lived in Tallahassee for 10 years. And Destin and Fort Walton Beach are my 2 favorite places to go in all Florida. I've lived all over Florida, north, south, east, west. I absolutely despised living down by Fort Lauderdale. It was an infernal down there. And I spent a lot of time. Seemed like we had hurricane after hurricane. I've never seen any place in my life that you could get 13 inches of rain in one day and still not have to float a boat down the street. But it definitely flooded quite a bit. But I shouldn't really have to say anything to you about hurricanes after what I guess it was 2 years ago when you all had yours in that area down there and took a big chunk of Fort St. Joe and Panama City and all that out there. I don't think you guys got the brunt of it, but I believe that Destin and stuff like that. And since you have so little land mass there and it's water on each side, But you're right. A trip to Disney World from Destin, wow, have a lunch, because you could be on the road for a while. I had a girlfriend that lived in Boynton Beach, and I would drive from Tallahassee down there, and that was that was a hike just to get down there. And she says, well, could you run down this weekend? Well, she didn't realize what running down from Tallahassee to Fort Walton Beach was. And my dad passed away in 1999. And it was really cold. They lived in Perry, Florida, which I'm sure if you've been up and down Highway 19 going south to Tampa or anything, you've been through Perry. And my parents lived in Perry, Florida, and it was the wettest December they ever had and the coldest January they ever had. And I happened to be there for both of them. When my dad passed away, be with my mom to help her out and do stuff. And it snowed in West Palm Beach in 1999. And that was really weird. Now, in Tallahassee, when I lived there in 1995, it sits there and I remember it sits there and we had really wet snowflakes. It didn't, but my water line and stuff flowed twice while I lived in Tallahassee. And my dad passed away in 2009, not 99, 2009. And that's when it snowed in West Palm Beach. So that was some really unusual weather down there. But, man, it'd either be 100 degrees for 30 days, it seemed like in Tallahassee. And then in the wintertime, we'd have a lot of days in the 20s to start the morning off. But it'd get up into the 60s or low 70s by afternoon. And that was pretty much the norm for the winter. So I loved Tallahassee as far as weather-wise. But when you lived in Tallahassee, it was 100 miles to Panama City. If you wanted to go anywhere, you had 100 miles or mostly a lot more than 100 miles. Tallahassee's just in the middle of nowhere. So, like I said, beaches, the good beaches were, you go use the Panama City or something like that. Everything else, Apalachicola, St. George Island. I used to love to go down there and go fishing, but they had better beaches. But anywhere between up in the little, I can't remember what they call it now, we'll call it Springs area and all that stuff. That was nasty water. It was just brown ocean water where all the rivers dumped into, and it was just really nasty. I'll go ahead and let AA4KK pick it up, and I didn't catch the name, and go ahead and when you get it, pass it to WD4NKA if you don't mind. And good morning, this is Whiskey Charlie 4 Delta.
I'm not hearing him. Somebody's going to have to relay. I'm sorry, guys. This is Alpha 4 kilowatt. Name is Joe. Having a lot of. I'm using a vertical right now, and I'm getting a lot of background interference, especially this morning. But I just want to say hello, and I'm going to have to leave the band here. I'm cutting it kind of short right now. But name is Joe. My QTH is Hardyville, South Carolina. Running a vertical BCB5. The transmitter is a Kenwood 870. Running about pick it up. Good morning to you, and hope to be in here tomorrow.
Gary, I don't know if he heard it or not. That's AA4KK. His name's Joe. He's in South Carolina there, and he's running a vertical with a Kenwood 870. So I'll turn it. Go ahead and pick it up there, Gary. KK4GZQ.
Okay, real good. This is Whiskey Delta 4, November Kilo Alpha. And I don't know why hang on just a minute, I'm putting out way too much power here. Let me bring it back down. I think that's a little bit, it's a little bit better here. Panhandle of Florida is very, very nice. I'm not hearing Joe at all, AA4KK. I think that whole area there, Brunswick, South Carolina, Charleston, Savannah, is just coming in down here right now. Probably a few hours to water behind that. Joe, ours continues to sound really good. Destin is, I think Destin is actually still kind of recovering from some of the hurricanes. We have family up there in Destin, and we have family just north of the Alabama
in Geneva County, and that's a very, very pretty part of the world. To me, the part of Florida that I really like is the Panhandle, and not surprisingly, a different part of it. Years ago, there was West Florida, and then there was the Peninsula. Now, West Florida used to extend the river line past Mobile, Alabama, and past the Panhandle of Mississippi. And that was all one province. That was West Florida, and they share a really good lineage and French influence. It's really kind of interesting. But the Panhandle of Florida, and then in Jacksonville, that's called the Crown. That's the Crown of Florida. And both of them are affected by continental weather. And then when you get much south of Gainesville, then you're into peninsula weather, and that's where we start getting into the horse latitudes. And the weather is totally and completely different down here. And then southeast Florida is southwest Florida, a whole different climate. The Gulf influences in Florida totally different than the Atlantic does. They're light years apart. Florida is you can choose the climate of the state that you want to live in. It's like you're living in another country. I lived in Jacksonville for 2 years. Jacksonville was almost identical to Virginia Beach. That was weather and everything in Jacksonville. We caroled in the snow one time, I think. It never collected, but it did snow. Highlands got snow. And down in becomes a desert. It's but the military meteorologists call the Peninsula of Florida a wet desert. But my favorite part of Florida is the Panhandle, and they'll continue to be the Panhandle. The Crown, the Jacksonville Crown, and Nassau County, and St. Mary's is all really pretty too. But that whole state, and to a large degree, a wholly different culture. The Peninsula is there's not even a remnant, but real Florida begins at, I think, Lake City, and continues on up into the Panhandle towards Alabama and Georgia. Floribama, we used to call it. But, I worked for a long time up in the Panhandle and Apalachicola. And I lived out of Tallahassee also, right off of Monroe. This is years ago when Tallahassee only had 2 exits off I-10. Very, very pretty part of the state, and sometimes we'll still vacation up in the Destin area there too. But I know they got hit really, really, really hard with the hurricane. Some of those islands, the roads still are not put back. That hurricane hit Destin so hard that some of those shore roads were literally ripped right out of the ground. It was a crazy thing to see. So, go ahead and pick it up, Kevin, KK4GZQ. This is Whiskey Delta 4. Never kiss alligators, at least not in my swamp.
N4DKD.
Well, I'll be darned. Brian, why don't you just jump in and take it, and I'll take it after you. N4DKD in the group, KK4GZQ. Good morning from near Lexington, Brian. Over.
Hello, Kevin. Good to hear everybody. Just wanted to jump in and comment on the signal. Signals are exceptionally strong today all over. So, Jack sounded good. WC4D, I didn't get his name. Really strong down here. So, it's Brian in Birmingham. And whatever, the DX100.
so good or even sounding good. So, KK4GZQ is N4DKD.
Okay, real good, Brian. N4DKD with the group KK4GZQ. I've never, I just happened to be monitoring your web SDR there, and I'd never seen you transmit on it before, Brian. That was pretty neat. Anyway, of course, you blanked the meter on the 60 dB over. Anyway, pretty cool. Anyway, Brian, good morning, and I know Art's in there wants to say good morning to you. There's quite a big group in here, and I've got my neighbor, Don. You mentioned Whiskey Charlie 4 Delta, good friend of mine over in Lexington, and he's about to put a BC 610 on the air. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but he's about to get that on the air here real soon. And all the comments about Florida, I thought Gary's comments about western Florida and the peninsula was interesting. I guess just back in the old days when all the settlers were coming in here from Europe, and he talked about French influence over on the Panhandle, and pretty interesting things going on. And good morning to Joe. Alpha 4 Kilo, I believe, was the call. And I don't know if I wrote that down right or not. AK4KK is what I had written down here. I don't know if that's correct or not, Joe, but good signal up here this morning from South Carolina on the TS-870. And Gary, I spent some time here 2 years ago on Amelia Island down north of Jacksonville. And pretty interesting place. We liked it down there, but more to our liking was where Don mentioned was St. George Island, right off the coast of Apalachicola. And Don, isn't that a great place? We just got back from there not too long ago, back in Halloween, and got to see Art and Joe and John. They drove over from the Destin, Fort Walton, Pensacola area. And I sure appreciate that as well, Art, and still think back about our trip and how good it was and how nice it was to see all you guys. Anyway, I think that's all. Perry, good morning again. You're kind of light here coming in from near Philadelphia. You're about S9 this morning, and generally you're 20 over. So, but the band conditions up there are just kind of just not what they need to be between you and I. And Art, I know you want to say hello to Brian, so I'm going to go ahead and just hand it over to you and sign on this one. N4JK to take it. Thanks, everybody, for being there. Sure is a pleasure and a privilege. KK4GZQ. 7-3 for now, Art.
4JCP.
Oh, my goodness, Kevin. Don't leave me like this. You heard what just happened. We had John, K4VZS, jump in there. And then it really went downhill. K4JCP has jumped in. Now, Joe has disappeared for a while, and he has returned. So I guess we just have to prepare ourselves. Welcome back, Joe. And John, good to hear you. Kevin sure did enjoy that trip over to see you at St. George. And on the way over, we had a chance to drive through Panama City Beach and Panama City and Port St. Joe, and see all the massive hurricane damage that came through there year before last. And they are still recovering. Destin got off light. The storm just missed us. It turned right before it came aboard. So we got a little rain and wind, but no problems here. It wasn't our turn, but probably next season we're due. It's been several years since we've had significant hurricane. But we get ours from time to time. And you're right, the last couple of times we've had them, it's torn up the parts of 98 connecting Fort Walton Beach to Destin over at Okaloosa Island. They've had to replant the road, but it's held up pretty well since, so I think they did a good job. Good morning to you there, Brian. Well, good update here in that Delta loop. I think that's a new antenna for you, and I will return the favor, saying that you sound better than you should. Oh, you had good holidays. Everything was fine down here, and even got to see John, and plan to see him some this week later on in the week, and looking forward to that. And Joe and his ex-wife came by right before they left town. Good to see them, and man, I'm glad you're back, Joe. It's just been too quiet down here. Let's see, other things I want to comment on. The culture, yeah, Northwest Florida, it's a bit more rural than Central and South Florida. Much different atmosphere. And now one thing that we do during the summertime is we go to Walmart and run around the parking lot, and all we see is UK tags. This is a good place for folks from Kentucky to come down and visit, and then it's a pretty straight shot down 65 and the Kentucky Turnpike, or I'm sorry, Bluegrass Parkway and things like that. So we have a lot of folks from Kentucky down here. Where we are, the water surrounding us moderates the temperature. That's why we don't get snow. You get a few miles north, and that's a different story. Folks in Crestview, for instance, about 30 miles north, see it much more often. Let's see, one say good morning to K4KK. I think he was just kind of in and out, but nice signal on his vertical, and the QRP from the solid state rig. And, oh gosh, I have a lot of things I comment on, but I'll not do that. That's something. I lived in Homestead for about 5 years, and there was no chance of my season there, and I sure was glad to end up here in Northwest Florida. It suits me. Cold enough and hot enough. Anyway, let's see. John, I heard you went first. I'm going to throw it to you, and then if you'll pick up Joe. And Joe, sum it up to Terry, W3MMR. K4VZS in the group from N4JK.
737. Well, good morning to everybody first. And I want to say hello to Brian. I haven't heard him in a while, and I sort of missed you, Brian. But I'm glad to see you're still there. I agree with that. I lived since 1950 or 1940 something. Started on the West Coast, and when I started my work there, I went to Miami. Didn't like it there. Came back to Clearwater for a while, and moved to Tallahassee for a while. Finally, money dictated I come to work at Channel 3 here in Pensacola, and I've been here since 1966. I've motorhomed all over every state and Alaska. It's been everywhere except Hawaii and motorhome, and I like it better here. So, anyway, that's my story. Joe, I'll turn it over to you. K4JCP, K4VZS.
Okay, John, I thought I heard somebody on the break in there, but didn't hear on our break. K4VZS and the group K4JCP, and good morning to all. Finally back down here, stuck in after dark last night. I was able to jump bail and finally made it back here to the home state. Spent a little time up in Tennessee and went over in North Carolina. Went to a wedding over there, and then stuck back home last night. Had a great great New Year's, and nice trip all the way around, but it's always good to be home. Taking the easy way out this morning with the 7300 and the SP220, hitting about 600 watts on peak, so we're just cruising. Certainly good to hear everybody. Sound like the band's pretty good shape. I'm morning to you, Kevin. I guess you're down already. I did hear Gary down there, never kissed alligators, and that's always certainly good advice. I hate to make the alligators mad. Of course, I'm an old Tennessee boy, so we were used to the changes in seasons, although not quite as bad as it was further north, but depending on the year, we had quite a few changes there also. But like Art said, down here in the Panhandle, we get some Gulf breezes to help moderate things. It's this sugar sand over here, I think it's called the Redneck Riviera, and certainly brings in the facts of the fact that we're kind of different from the eastern part of the state over there. And I guess I didn't realize. I guess I should have known we had quite a French background over here, so I'll have to learn a little bit of Southern French, I guess. Let's see, where am I going with this? Morning all, W3MMR. Gary, if you can hear me, pick it up. K4JCP.
Hi, good morning. Slipped off the football. That was weird. K4JCP in the group W3MMR. I'm going to go ahead and sign, guys. Kevin said I wasn't too good between him and I. And I know the sun's starting to pick up there, so the band's going to shorten up fairly quickly. But you guys are all still coming up in here in the southeast Pennsylvania fairly well. Joe, the 7300 sounded great this morning. It sounds really good. And good morning to Brian. The DS100 sounded good up here in the southeastern Pennsylvania. Respectable signal. About 10 to 15 over S9 into the non-200D this morning. So 7-3 guys, great getting in here with you fellas again this morning as always. And hopefully we'll catch you guys in here tomorrow morning. So I believe that I was sending it to Don. So down to you, Don. WC4D, 7-3 guys from W3MMR.
W3MMR, WC4D. Good morning, everybody, and have a good day. Like I said, I've heard the telephone many times out here, and I listen all the time, but I never get on here in time. So this might be one of my rare occasions. I might be a regular. I'm not sure what I'll be doing. This depends on my medicine if I wake up early enough to get in here with you all. The band's changing a lot. You were really super strong at one time there, Perry, but the band is taking a dip in. But I'm still copying you at Q5, no problem. But not compared to what it was. You was 30 over at times there. And Joe and John, both big signals. Brian's got a big signal in here also. Good morning to you. My name's Don. I'm in Lexington, Kentucky. Not too far from Kevin there at GZQ. We've known each other for years, and he finally got over here this summer for the first time. Well, just a couple weeks ago, matter of fact. And I've been inviting him to the shack for at least 3 or 4 years. I don't know. Seems like it's been a long time, but he's not made it, but he finally did make it over here. And I went over to his place and just amazed at some of the equipment that he had from Liz that he'd gotten. His BC610 is white or off-white, where mine is black, but at least he talks on mine, I look at mine, so that's the conditions on this one. I'm running a ICOM 7600 into an AL 1500 this morning, and I need to get my ART-13 going. I got a Globe King 500 I want to put on the air. It's ready to go. All I need is a couple cables for that, and it'll be ready. A cable for the BC610, it'll be ready to go. I got a Globe Champion 300 I'm really wanting to get on the air just to try out and play around with. And yeah, it's got an issue with the VFO on that. So just a few things here and there to get everything in order again. I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to sign after this myself. Because I've had coffee, and I don't drink coffee, but I need my Mountain Dew this morning. So I'll say 73s and look forward to meeting with y'all again on the air, and we'll catch you another morning. So I'll turn it back to Gary there, WD4NKA, Big Air and 73. Talk to you, Gary.